Welcome to today's special edition of 10 Minutes with Tony Scott. We're in our brand new studios at Gradient Positioning Systems. Special thanks to them for their help with our production of this edition, as well as several more here throughout the season. 10 Minutes with Tony Scott will be brought to you every week here on YHH, Tuesdays at 1 o'clock. We're very excited about it. Let's talk about why we're here, and that's the big pumpkin coverage. Moorhead, we're very excited about being in Moorhead this year for the Big Pumpkin. Special thanks to Moorhead Youth Hockey Association for reaching out to us and hosting the event this year in Moorhead. Our coverage will include 12 games live streamed, including a game each for the 8 Peewee Single A teams, as well as the 2 Peewee Double A quarterfinal games, the semifinals, and both the Peewee Double A and Single A finals on Sunday. We'll be broadcasting and writing about the event prior, during, and after, including naming the all-tournament team, the tournament MVPs for both divisions. We're really excited about this tournament. Now let's get down to the first round games of the Pumpkin on Friday in Moorhead. The Peewee Double A, let's get started with them. The Peewee Double A is a bracket play tournament. The first round games will determine which bracket you will play in, the winner's bracket and the loser's bracket. Osseo Maple Grove will be taking on Duluth East in our first game at 3:45 p.m. Osseo Maple Grove is an unbelievable team. They look to be one of the top 2 or 3 teams in the state to start the season. Watch out for players Tyler Oakland, former Wiz Wyatt Player of the Year 2 years ago, and Connor Kelly, a versatile player who can go forward and D for Osseo Maple Grove. They'll take on the Hounds, who are always tough in hockey, especially at the Peewee level the last few years. Game number 2 will be Prior Lake will take on White Bear Lake at 8:30 p.m. That game will be live streamed on YHH. Prior Lake has Carson Stokes in the net and Owen Newharth up front. Should be a really fun team to watch. Coach Bianchi's got a great formula for winning down at Prior Lake. Keep an eye out for Lucky Alice and Billy Rose for the Bears. White Bear Lake will have a really strong team this year in District 2. The next game will be Andover will take on St. Cloud at 7 o'clock p.m. That game will be live streamed on YHH. Andover comes in a very talented team, including forwards Gunnar Thorson and Luke Crone. They're unbelievable players. Can't wait to see those guys line up for the Huskies this year. Speaking of Huskies, the St. Cloud Huskies will feature Nate Warner, one of the top 01 players in the state this year at the Peewee level. They should be an outstanding team, as well as another great forward, Ethan Cumming, a kid who's got unbelievable hands and a great nose for the net. Next game will be Chaska Chan will take on Blaine at 5:15 p.m. The Stormhawks bring Bobby Brink and Shane Lavelle up to Moorhead. A great cast of skaters and forwards and defensemen, and also a great goalie for the Stormhawks. Blaine will have Chaz and Cruz Lucius lining up for the Bengals this year. A very entertaining duo, and they've been well documented on our site, even going back to their squirt years at White Bear Lake. Should be a fun game between those two teams. Next up, Rosemount will take on Eden Prairie at 8 o'clock p.m. Rosemount got a new skater this year, power forward Mitchell Koner. Brings a lot of scoring and depth to an already deep group for the Irish, as well as AJ Anello up front, a great scorer for the Irish. Missing from this week, from the tournament, will likely be Luke Lewandowski, a top 02 player for the Irish. He's out with a thumb injury. Eden Prairie has 2 unbelievable goaltenders, which will keep them in lots of games this year. Jack Engelbrecht and Ben Bullis return for the Eagles this year, which will make them an automatic tough team to play. Up front, watch out for Johnny Middlestad. Kid's got great hands, fast skater, and will make a lot of plays for the Eagles this year. Next game, Moorhead will take on Wyzetta at 5 o'clock p.m. The host Spuds have Carter Johnson and Caden Triggs up front. They're a definite dangerous duo if they play together, or they'll be dangerous if they're separated up front for the Spuds. Also, a tough goaltender, goalie Hudson Hodges for the Spuds will keep them in lots of games this season. The Trojans from Wayzata bring in a new kid from Florida, Ryan Mulranen. We got a chance to see him in the Peewee Challenge a few weeks back. Ryan's an outstanding talent, will definitely add scoring punch for the Trojans. Edina will take on Elk River at 6:30 p.m. Johnny Tucker and Ben Dexheimer are two returning defensemen for the Hornets who've won the state championship the last two seasons. Watch out for the Hornets. They are loaded with talent top to bottom. Elk River has Austin Humphrey and Zach Michaelis up front, which were two great players, leading scorers in the Velocity 3-on-3 tournament earlier in September. The Elks will definitely give Edina a run on Friday in Moorhead. And finally, the last game of the day will be Minneapolis versus Hermantown at 3:30 p.m. up in Moorhead. Minneapolis has one of the best blue lines in the state, including standouts Mackie Zabinski and Will Svendal. And then up front, they have great scorers, including Joe Miller and Will Mortensen. Should be a fantastic event at the Peewee AA event. We have lots of great teams, and we can't wait to see it. Now let's get to the Peewee Single A. Peewee Single A's will play a pool play format where the top two teams from each pool will advance to the semifinals on Sunday, followed by the championship game at 1:45, which will be live streamed on YHH. The A pool #1 team is Edina. They'll take on Elk River at 4 o'clock, which will be live streamed. Edina has a lot of great talent, leftovers from the Peewee AA tryouts. These kids are unbelievably talented. Can't believe lots of these kids couldn't make a spot on a Peewee AA team in Edina. They will definitely be a team to beat in this tournament. The other pool play game will be White Bear Lake in the Pool A, will be White Bear Lake versus Pine City. 5:30 p.m. live streamed on YHH. The Bears bring in a lot of talent as well, and they play our mystery team, Pine City. The Dragons are the only participant in the Peewee Single A that don't have a Peewee AA in front of them in this tournament. Now let's get to the B pool. The #1 seed we have in the B pool is Osseo Maple Grove. Another very similar script as the Edina team. Lots of great players who didn't crack the Peewee AA team will come to Moorhead with something to prove, and they'll definitely bring their A game to the Big Pumpkin. They'll take on Chaska Chan at 6:45 p.m. Another great team, very similar script as Maple Grove and Edina. Lots of great players on that single A team. Finally, in the nightcap, Moorhead will take on Blaine in the B pool at 8:15 p.m. Great talent up in Moorhead at that level coming up from their Squirt A team, as well as some other second-year players for the Spuds. They'll take on Blaine, who's got a great team, great talent, and a really good coach for the Bengals this year. They'll play at 8:15, Moorhead versus Blaine. Like I said, we're really excited about coming up to Moorhead. I'm so excited. I put on my orange and white shirt and black pants today to today's broadcast. We're really looking forward to covering this great event up in Moorhead. Thanks to Moorhead Youth Hockey Association for hosting it. Thanks again to the people here at Gradient Position Systems for putting on today's broadcast and broadcasting the rest of the season of 10 Minutes with Tony Scott. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you up in Moorhead in a couple of weeks.